writer and to actually finish a story arc. What was that like?
Well, it was a struggle to do that. I mean, like I said with the earlier guy there, that it was. Listen, we all became very much a family. That's why I'm very much mourning Jeff's passing. We became very, very close friends. See, we shot Babylon 5 out in a warehouse that was converted into a soundstage, way out in North Hollywood, a place called Sun Valley, pardon me, and it's not in Idaho. So we were not on the Warner Brothers lot. We truly were like out on a space station. We were so away from anyone else in show business or any other shows or anything. So like when guest stars would come, we'd go, "So what's new out there? What have you heard? Anything?" You know. So we were very isolated out there, and we still even had the sign on the front of the building, and it was an old hot tub factory. It was called Aquatech. And it was still there, so no one knew where the hell we were out there. And so we became very, very close. My relationship with Joe Straczynski was sometimes rocky. I'm not the easiest person in the world, but I'm not the worst. I mean, he and I, it was contentious sometimes. That's what you want it to be. It's creative, and that's what creative people are. When you read about all this stuff that people fight and this and that, yeah. Anybody in your family fight with you? I mean, when you become a family, you know each other. And so day in and day out, 14 hours a day or whatever it is, and so it does. The cast always got along. We never had any prima donnas, other than me. No, I don't believe I was either. We really, it was a great ensemble, and when someone like when Jeff came in, they were welcome, they were brought in. I was welcomed and brought in. I always started shows. I had never come in after its first season already. And it was dicey whether I could carry it off. I mean, no one knew. And there was a reaction from the real diehard fans that the show had that early on. Bruce Boxer, the Scarecrow goes out in space. I had all these comments, we were just getting, it was just now the internet was happening. That show was at the forefront of all of that, so there was all these fan sites and stuff, and they were making comments. They weren't sure, I smiled too much, I wasn't dark and grim, and all those things that they wanted me to be. And so I had a lot to live up to. And I think Joe gave me a great character, and he started fleshing it out as I was going along. It all wasn't written in stone before all of us walked into it. He had it all out there, it was all out on his storyboards and stuff, but he knew how to adapt. He had to adapt to the personalities of the actors. I was sort of a generic, my name was going to be Stryker or Strider. It was all kinds of, we came to Sheridan, which was great. He had this great ability. He would sit and listen and learn and hear us talk at lunch, like Jerry Doyle's famous line. We got in a big political argument about something about capital punishment or something, and Jerry said, "I think they ought to have electric bleachers." That was Jerry. Still is. And he said, "Electric bleachers, we can take care of death row just like that." But by now you heard Garibaldi say that line.
Yes.
Because Joe knew a good line when he heard it. And he adapted that right in, and that's what's marvelous with this, he adapted me. It started to sound more the way I talked. He adapted John Sheridan to Bruce Boxleitner to John Sheridan. So, and it takes a big talent to do that. But yeah, we had, there wasn't a lot of fights, I have to say, but it was probably more with our front office that we were in conflict with, but that's typical in every business, right? The bosses, and they'd come out, and we'd have our best lunches, by the way, when the head of Warner Distribution, and guys would come out every few months just to come out, and we'd have lobster and stuff like this. No greasy cheeseburgers were out, and things like that we had to actually eat very well. You can imagine, you saw my waistline getting bigger and bigger. They had to let out that uniform a few months. We never had time for, we couldn't work out or anything. We never had I had to do that on the weekends. That was pretty difficult. So anyway, it was life on a space station, you know. You had to watch the calories. And but everybody, you know, when Tracy came in, adapted, and my dear Claudia left, that was all politics. It was rumors and stuff like that. It was all politics. It was all, you know, and I really loved Claudia because she was the one, when I entered the show, she kind of like really took me around and made me feel comfortable. And obviously those two characters were, I thought, very well written. Sheridan and Ivanova. God, I haven't said that name in years. Ivanova. 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 And I think that reflects in my first episodes of the show in the second season. She really helped me get into the show. I have to always give Claudia credit for that. And and I was angry when she left. I started kicking flats and knocking things down. I almost kicked Kosh right in his fat ass. I was angry. I said, don't mess when it's working well. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Try to fix it. That was constantly going on. But it was always outside people doing that. Warner Brothers, you know. Who never gave a damn about us. You know, by the way, we were saying at Warner Brothers, you know, you have a great franchise here, like Paramount had with Star Trek. Why don't you do that? Why don't you pour some more money into it? We were always on this shoestring budget. And they said, why do we need a franchise? We have Looney Tunes already. Looney Tunes. That's the range of the imagination there. You know? They could have had really something, and you know, I feel that we went off just as the sort of mainstream American, mainstream audience was kind of discovering us. You know, it was always a sort of a cult favorite. But once we made it on the front, I was telling the kids in the show, I said, when we make the cover of TV Guide, don't think that an insignificant thing in those days, because I said, that's the widest subscribed magazine in the country. It's in everybody's home, you know, TV Guide, believe it or not. That was a more important magazine than any of those other sci-fi magazines were. That was the most important one, because that went to people that had no idea who we were. And it might have sparked them to go, I'd like to see this show, you know? And of course, in their you know, incredible intelligence, that's when they took us off the air. So, I still think we could have gone on. I will argue with Joe till I'm blue in the face with it. But I thought, it just didn't make sense. You could have ended that saga and continued with another one. And he created all those characters, just like Gene Roddenberry did. Huh? Come on. So, anyway, I'm repeating myself. It comes, I just turned 61, you start repeating yourself.
Well,
Whoever? Oh,